was answering phones, taking pizza orders, and I was realizing I was having a little trouble hearing the person on the phone. And I switched the phone to the other ear temporarily, and I could hear the person fine. And that's when I realized it's not the landline, it's me. I went in to see my regular general practitioner doctor just for a general checkup. She asked what was wrong, anything bothering me. I mentioned the hearing thing, not thinking it was a big deal at all. She said, okay, well, it's a little bit strange to have hearing problems at your age. There's a chance it could be a small, benign tumor, maybe just a millimeter or two. But tell you what, we'll get you set up for an MRI just to double check, just to be thorough, just to make sure. I went in and got the MRI, and they said, hey, Dave, so we got the results back. You do have a tumor, but it's not a millimeter or two, it's 3 centimeters.
Unfortunately for David, this was a large tumor, 3.4 centimeters, which is a tumor that's large enough to put pressure on the brain stem and brain. These tumors can become life-threatening. I think as a rule of thumb, for a large tumor like this, we would like to say that we'll remove as much tumor as possible so as not to expose the facial nerve to a greater than 5% risk of injury. And that's where the art of the surgery really comes in, because as you might imagine, tumors don't come with labels during the surgery saying cut here for 5% risk, cut here for 10% risk. When we get to this critical portion of the surgery, we're really deciding whether we can remove the whole tumor. We consult with each other in the operating room during the procedure to decide whether or not we're going to pursue the last bit of tumor or leave a small amount along the facial nerve. We often talk in medicine about the art of medicine versus the science of medicine. And this is exactly what we're talking about, is where we need to be a craftsman first and try and make a judgment that can be very, very hard to do alone. So the team-based approach for skull-based surgery, which was invented at House maybe 60 or so more years ago, lives on today and remains the cornerstone of our success in advancing what you could very honestly say is the art of surgery, in addition to the science. Surgery went very well in his case, thank goodness, and we were able to remove the entire tumor without injuring the facial nerve.
Well, I was definitely glad the research had been done. I mean, luckily I wasn't the first person to have to undergo this. Yeah, so I mean, if the research hadn't been done, I might still be sitting here with a big, gigantic sucker of a tumor in my head. So after the surgery, my recovery was approximately 8 weeks or so, and that's exactly what the doctor said it would be. After about 8 weeks, I was back on my feet and ready to get back to work. What I'm looking forward to most is actually, I have been looking forward to for a while, and just this morning, for the first time since getting out of surgery, I rode my motorcycle. And I took that here. I've been working on it for a while. Of course, I couldn't ride it for a while at first because of, getting out of surgery, I did have some balance and coordination issues. So I'm back on my Harley, and I was looking forward to that for a while. I inherited it from my dad when he passed away several years ago. And I think about him whenever I ride. And so I was glad in a way that he wasn't, around to see me have to go through all this, because I know how tough that can be on a parent. But I'm glad this morning I rode my Harley here and thought about my dad along the way here.